So Love Lies Bleeding, this is a brand new A24 production. Once again, from director Rose Glass. This is now her second feature film. She made Saint Maud a few years ago for A24, a horror film, a supernatural horror film. I think a really solid outing, a really solid first-time feature film from her. So very interested to see what she was going to come back with this new story, which is it's a weird amalgamation of things. You know, I think the best way maybe to describe Love Lies Bleeding is a queer, erotic romance, roid rage 80s thriller. It's doing a lot of weird, crazy things, but certainly due to the previews that came out a few months ago, and of course, Kristen Stewart, who's a very, very notable actress, and Katie O'Brien, who is on the rise in her own right, made it a very interesting film to go see, and it's currently running in a limited theatrical release currently in New York and LA, before eventually going wide across the rest of the country this upcoming weekend. So we got a chance to go check it out a little bit early. Want to come back and talk about it on the podcast. So with all of that out the way, man, I will pass it over to you. What did you think about this new film, Love Lies Bleeding?
Wow. First of all, this movie is hot, y'all. I ain't gonna lie to you. It is
steamy, you say.
It is steamy. It is a steamy, sexy movie. It is what it is. It's supposed to be like that. You can't see like this buff Katie O'Brien in this like super, I don't even know what to call her, but she's got so much swag, and Kristen Stewart in this movie, and not expected to be as hot as it is. I was just like, oh wow, yep, they turning up the heat in here. So yeah, I had to get that out the way. This movie is so much fun. I feel like it's been a little bit since we got like a true neo noir feeling, like love, this is ridiculous kind of story. That was good. I think sometimes we do get those stories, but a lot of them miss the mark, and then just not as interesting as this presents itself to be, man. This movie is really about a gym manager named Lou. That's Kristen Stewart, and she falls for this girl who's working out in the gym. She's buff, she looks good, but this is a very small town where there's a lot of family issues going down as well. And her and Jackie get into some family stuff, and there's literally everything that the title says. There's a lot of love, there's a lot of lies, and there's a lot of bleeding, like for real. And I enjoyed it, man. I have to say Kristen Stewart has been doing some tremendous work lately. She really has, man. Between Spencer and what's that other movie? What's the name of that movie? I forgot the name of it. Into the Wild, that movie. She's just, I don't know. She really has range. Like, I don't know if people are paying attention to her, but she has a ton of range, and she's been a part of some really cool projects lately. But this movie is nuts. You feel the chemistry between her and Katie O'Brien as well. I really enjoy everything that happened between them, because it is an intimate story, and that's when it works the best, and it's when it's really Kristen Stewart and Katie O'Brien on the screen just doing what they need to do. There are other players in the movie, of course. You see Ed Harris, which I actually didn't even know he was in the movie until we were watching. I was like, Ed Harris, where'd you come from?
With the crazy hairdo at that. I mean, his hairstyle was ridiculous.
I was like, why do you look like this? And then Dave Franco. I mean, that dude's also super talented, man. He always is like, he knows his lane. It's like perfect almost every time. But the only thing I will add to this movie, there is some A24-ness that happens in this movie. It can get a little weird, but it all worked for me, man. I enjoyed it. I had a tremendous time. Again, I think it's also fun as a theatrical experience around other people. It's one of those, like, when it does come out in the movies, I hope you get to see it with other people, because there's a lot of responses in this movie. There's a lot of stuff that's going to catch you off guard. A lot of stuff you're going to be like, whoa, I didn't see that coming. And it helped to be able to look around and go like, no, yeah, we all are like, what the hell just happened? So I really love that about it as well. But it's a fun, revenge, violent, erotic tale, man, that I must say is definitely entering one of my favorites so far this year, man.
Listen, I was really looking forward to this movie. When I first saw the trailer, nobody can cut a trailer like A24 and their marketing teams that they work with. They just do such a phenomenal job at getting you excited about smaller, more intimate stories. So I was looking forward to it ever since I first saw the trailer a few months ago, and I'm happy to say that Love Lies Bleeding fucking rips. I had such a good time watching this film. there's so much pulsating, sexual, charismatic energy in almost every frame of this movie. Kristen Stewart is absolutely phenomenal in this film as really the primary lead. She's having to do a lot on an emotional level. She's obviously a conflicted person that knows a lot of information, but she doesn't always say it or verbalize it. You can just tell that she has to carry it, that she has a really, really dark history. But Katie O'Brien comes through and is a star. She looks like $1 million in this movie. Oh my God. She looks so good. She is so ripped and looks in such good shape, but she's also sexy and she gains confidence and she's versatile. She can be funny. She can be raw. She can be vulnerable. And I just love the way that they used her as this physical presence all throughout this movie. And when they get together, because this is a queer relationship that develops in this movie, I mean, you get some very raw, true, intimate sex scenes, which are fantastic. They feel real. They feel very, very intimate and vulnerable. And then you pack that on top of this crazy crime, erotic thriller, and all of these murderous elements, all of these violent elements that come in and sort of invade their lives and take over their lives. It just becomes just this crazy thriller of a movie that's literally on steroids. Like, I'm not saying that figuratively. Like, this movie is actually a roided up, almost fairy tale, like a She-Hulk romantic fairy tale. You know, it's kind of crazy to think about just all of the things that Rose Glass put together in this movie to make something that is, it's just so unique. You know, it's just so different. You know, a little bit of Thelma and Louise in there, you know, but it goes further from friendship. It goes into romanticism, you know, and again, just thinking about the latest neo-noir crime thrillers we've gotten in the 21st century. I think it packs such a punch. It's such a great treat to watch, again, with other people. I totally agree with that. But even if you don't, if you want to see something that just feels different, that has a lot of energy, a lot of sexual energy, female energy, queer energy, this is a great movie to watch because it's just different. And it's showcasing, I think, the up-and-coming talents of Katie O'Brien and everything that she can be capable of. I want to see her in so many movies, especially if I can look at her like that. My goodness, yes. I will, please. Yes, give me more. And as you said, Kristen Stewart, who is just putting together a really impressive resume. I don't mean this ironically, but she's kind of doing her Robert Pattinson. You know, they were co-stars in Twilight, but for a long time there, Robert Pattinson had to go do more interesting work to get away from that superstardom. He had to pull away from being Edward because everybody just thought like, oh, that's Edward from Twilight. And even when Batman came around, people didn't see it. But it's like, no, this guy's been working for like 8 years, turning in really, really interesting work. You should probably go see it. You'll see why he's a great Batman. I think Kristen Stewart is doing the same thing. She's kind of getting away from franchises. She's kind of doing more smaller, interesting work. She can do some studio films here and there, some more flashy things like an Underwater, but I like her in this lane. I like her a lot here doing these smaller independent features with these up-and-coming filmmakers. I think it's a strong suit for her for the next few years. And so I can't wait to see what everybody, you know, a part of this cast, especially those two, and director Rose Glass do in the future. But folks, those are all of our thoughts on the new film Love Lies Bleeding. If you get a chance to go check it out when it hits theaters, hit us up and let us know what you think.